Thank you all for coming. So we just wanted to clarify some certain points. Firstly, to say our government hospital doctors are not on strike, but what I would call it is a call for safety. In that, as we are aware of this COVID-19 pandemic, which has caused havoc worldwide, and it has not spared our country. And as you are aware that healthcare workers are dying there, and so what's been happening in our hospital is that there's been a state of confusion. So we didn't want this pandemic to be upon us while we are still in this state of confusion. So what we have just done is we've made a call for survey to say, while we are sorting out some things, for now let's withdraw ourselves temporarily, but it's not a strike. We are not trying to hold the government at ransom at this point in time, but we are saying we need certain things to be addressed. As you are aware, we communicated 10 points. Chief amongst them was the call for PPE, personal protective equipment, whereby we are saying, us as the frontline healthcare workers, we need to be protected first, because there is a difference between heroism and suicide. So for us, we need to be protected first, so that we'll be able to help all those. So we have said, let PPEs be availed first, and then we'll be able to offer our services and help our patients. So we are not on a strike. We are aware of all the developments that have been happening, the donation by JECMA, which we are awaiting, and all the efforts by our government. We commend them. And we commend also the call that has been made by His Excellency to ban all social gatherings, to implement social distancing, amongst all things. And we are even saying it's better for us to be overprotected than to be found in a state of underpreparedness. So we commend all the efforts that have been done so far. However, there's still room for more. As we are aware that even in developed countries, they haven't been able to fight this pandemic. It has caused havoc. So yes, we need to keep on putting more effort in equipping our hospitals and in protecting our healthcare workers. So I'll leave this time to Dr. Mgofa.
For this time, as the President has said, we really commend the moves by the government, and I'm sure here we are having a press conference, we are having a media briefing. We still want you to be socially distanced, because the risk is real. The pandemic is real. The concern is real. And we need to be real when we are addressing this issue. The coronavirus has killed a lot of people in the whole world, as we all know. And it is the mandate of us, the health workers, and it is the mandate of the government officials to make sure that the country is prepared. And by prepared, we are not only talking about institutions, we are even talking about public awareness. Are our people aware that there is a pandemic that is ongoing? Are our people aware of the benefits of social distancing? Are our people aware of the benefits of hand washing, benefits of staying at home, and benefits of avoiding unnecessary travel? These are the things that we need to address, and I'm sure you as the media, you are going to play a critical role in trying to educate our population in that regard. As for our hospitals, as you know, so far there has not been a cure for the coronavirus. All the countries that have managed to control the virus have done so by making people stay at home. So it's actually the social isolation and the social distancing that is actually crucial in the management of the coronavirus. But is this social distancing, is this self-isolation possible with the health workers? Of course not. Because the health workers are the frontliners, are the people who are going to be managing this coronavirus firsthand. So we want these people in the hospitals. We want these people on the front line, so we can't tell them to stay at home. So what should we do if you can't tell someone to stay at home? Protect them. You should make it clear. There should be a clear plan of how we are going to protect someone who's not going to be at home. How are they going to be transported from Mufakos to Parenyatwa? Are they going to use the same public transport that everyone else is using? When they get to Parenyatwa, are they going to be protected? Are they going to be offered a face mask? Are they going to be offered all the necessary personal protective equipment? That is the communique that we have given to our government, that we need personal protective equipment for our doctors and our nurses and everyone who's going to be working in the health sector and everyone who's going to be managing or who's going to be in contact with people that might be affected by this coronavirus. So there is need for a clear plan. And where we are right now, it's not somewhere that, it's not a position that we wanted. We had communicated with them, but this, I can call it a communication breakdown. Because we have written to them letters, we have submitted 2 letters, nurses have submitted letters, but we have not have any response from the government, which is a clear disregard of our concerns. This is why we are now at this juncture that as we speak, Harare Central Hospital is closed, it's locked, because all the nurses decided to go and stay safe at home, because there was no plan. There was no plan as to where they are going to get face masks, etc. We know that donations we have received donations as a country, but the donations to say they are now at the hospitals, I wouldn't say. As soon as those donations or as soon as those personal protective equipment becomes available at the hospitals, and as soon as our safety as healthcare workers is guaranteed, we are ready to save the Zimbabwean population. We are ready to fight this coronavirus. There is an issue of preparedness in the sense of how we are going to be managing this coronavirus. The issue of training. Are our healthcare workers adequately trained? No. Is everyone who's working in the health sector adequately trained to manage this virus? No. Everyone is not adequately trained. The issue of training is of paramount importance. The issue of infrastructure. Do we have the necessities to manage the coronavirus? No, we don't. I'm sure we all know of the recent events that a very well-known member of society died at one of our institutions without even the basicest of care, without anyone attending to that patient. We have been told that even the doctor who was supposed to attend the patient was being called on a cell phone, which means the doctor is not even there. The nurses didn't want to come into contact with him, and they didn't have the ventilator to help him. So these are the things that we are saying. Can we address these things with seriousness? Can we set up a site? Can we set up a hospital that is adequately equipped, that is well prepared to handle coronavirus patients? The coronavirus, when it comes, when it's full-blown, it affects a lot of people at a single time. And the inability of our healthcare delivery system to manage one patient is worrying. What about when there are 50 patients? So we should be more prepared. And it is time that we take the pandemic serious. And I want to take this time to send a message to the Minister of Finance that this is the time where funds are released towards the healthcare system so that we can be more prepared more than ever. This is the time, not later. We don't want to do it later on when we are now regretting. This is the time.
This is outlined within the World Health Organization protocol. I will just rattle through a few, but it includes face masks, like you said, goggles, face masks, in particular the N95 face mask, and aprons, space suits, and what we call this, the capes, amongst other things. And when it comes, this is was the preventive side. Then there's the management side, whereby we need as many ventilators as we can as you are aware that World Health Organization has said most cases recover on their own, yes, but some might need ventilator support. So we need as much ventilators as we can. Unfortunately, now we do not have as much as we want. In terms of ventilators in the country, I would give a gross figure to say that they are less than 20. Because I know at Aran we've got 3, yet Paranyato we might have 4 or 5, including institutions in Blawan. But basically it's less than 20. Yet you're seeing in developed countries they need more than hundreds, even enough to prevent the spread of this coronavirus. And yes, you mentioned the Aran hospital is locked. But here at Parinyatwa, they have been trying their best in accordance with their resources at their disposal. As you might see, their screening is quite better. Screening at the main entrance, and so that to make sure that suspected patients are not mixed with healthcare personnel and other patients. So there have been some improvements here at Paranato. But since the reason why we had to call for a national, at a national level, what we are calling a call for support is that there are still among us other things that needs to be addressed before we can safely say we are in a state of preparedness to fight this coronavirus. Like I have said, there is a difference between heroism and committing suicide.
I think in that regard, we are the doctors that work on the ground. And if you see us here, it means there is nothing where we came from. So if the equipment is really there, then they are going to communicate with us. They are going to send us a letter as we had sent them a letter before. They are just going to communicate with us to say, here are the things, can you come back and do this?
Before that, it's unfortunate that the pandemic fell upon us whilst we are still preparing. I wouldn't say whilst we are not prepared, but we are preparing, like what the minister always said. So unfortunately there hasn't been well written down protocols to say in case of a suspected patient we do this and do that. So what you're saying might be true in that healthcare workers might have been approached the patient who is with suspected case, but they didn't have well written down protocols to go about them. So we have seen lately developments whereby if you suspect to have coronavirus, the right thing to do is not come to these institutions like Paranato or another hospital, but rather you call while you stay at home to say I'm having this and this, and if it fits within the World Health Organization case definition, an ambulance is supposed to come to your place and ferry you to Wilkins, which has been the established hospital to deal with coronavirus patients. But what we are doing now is that, as you may see, the screening here, the main entrance, whereby you are screened to say, if you had recent traveling history or in contact with someone with a recent traveling history, if you have a fever, temperature is above 39, and are you having a cough? If so, then you are self-isolated and then referred to Wilkins before you are exposed to any other patients. But I understand these things need to be refined as we are going forward and forward. And as the association would like to make it very clear that we are ready and we are willing to partner with our government, with our developmental partners to fight this pandemic, because it's not everyone's fault that a pandemic has befallen us, but we need to find ways whereby first we've made the protection of a healthcare worker well established, and then we can see how to go about it.
I wouldn't say that we are in bad books, but of course we have concerns with the way they conduct their business, especially the issue of communication. From the beginning, we are the ones who are always writing to the government, but they don't write back, they don't phone back, they don't communicate with us, they don't deal with the people who are on the ground. So for us to talk about a relationship, people must be having conversations, people must be talking to say there's a relationship. But as it stands, we are the only ones who are writing letters, we are the only ones who are raising concerns, but we are not receiving responses.
Like you said, water is very basic and it's very important at this point in time. We have called to the government to put up contingency plan because this is an abnormal situation that we found ourselves in. It needs to think outside the box. It needs to think in other terms, setting up some other contingency plan to make sure that water is readily available any time of the day in our institutions. So yes, at Harare Hospital, at the moment the water crisis is still there and it hasn't been addressed. But they've promised us that they are running around to implement all those things. So yes, we've given them time to say, when everything is now been set up, when we have running water and enough PPEs, we are more than willing.
What about water, not having water at homes? How would people manage?
I think the same applies. Hand washing is of paramount importance, and to consider the fact that hand sanitizers are very expensive. Because I'm told a 500ml bottle of a hand sanitizer is costing up to $20 in a pharmacy, of which, considering our general Zimbabwean population, is something that is not feasible. So the water at homes is a necessity. If we are to fight, if we are to win this pandemic, we need steady water supply at homes.